Good afternoon. This is my second video with respect to the general elections. In my last video, we tried to analyze the percentage with respect to the literary and voting percentage. And one analysis I have done based on some data available. One of the reasons for the lower turnout in the voting, particularly in metros and towns, is lack of interest or lack of participation from the middle class and upper middle class people. Like for example in Hyderabad, in Telangana elections, it is lowest. And the same thing may be there across the country. But why middle class people are not showing that much enthusiasm unless they are totally associated with one political party or otherwise? In general, as a neutral person, as a common middle class or upper middle class man, they have their own interests and they don't show so much enthusiasm. That is what I have analyzed. Then I also analyzed some of the reasons why they do not have so much interest. First of all, I consider that all the middle class and upper middle class people have been ignored by all the political parties and at large government also. The simple reason is their governments or political parties have taken the middle class people for granted. That anyway they vote as per this one. So they will not be attracted towards any freebies and they do by their own. So why there should be a special attention on the middle class? And the reason why middle class people also not overwhelmingly participating in the election is they feel they are neglected, ignored. They consider themselves as one of the higher tax paying persons in the national interest. But despite the fact that they do not get anything extra or specific, like in the cases your freebies or other facilities, other welfare measures for the lower middle class people, or some business communities and rich people who have got their own advantages. Because of this, middle class people are not interested, not overwhelmingly enthused to vote. That is what my analysis. Now, to encourage the middle class voters to participate, I have few suggestions. Middle class people should insist that certain demands it should be included in the manifesto of the election. In fact, in some of the recent elections, some of the political parties, although they were not in manifesto, they proposed that in case of a middle class, some of the additional advantages have to be given, like for example, housing. A person who purchases the 2 BHK, the principal will be paid by the EMI by whoever is purchasing, and most of the part of the interest will be borne by the government. So like that, there will be some proposals were there. Those proposals, but at the same time, were not included in the manifestos for whatever the reasons or political fears. Now, I consider and I request all the middle class people to insist that some of these points to be included in the election manifesto so that they will also actively participate in the elections. First of all the middle class people who were conspicuously treated that they are all self-sufficient and also kind of affluent, they do not require anything extra, freebies or extra benefits. But some of the things is reducing the taxes, both at the central level in income tax, and making them more flow of money on hand to purchase, which ultimately benefits the government through indirect taxes also. And like some of the politicians, they said that interest will be borne by the government to maximum percentage. And secondly, the health care of the middle class man. See, many of the employees and the government employees, they have their organizations support their health care. But almost more than 50% of the employees, particularly in private sector, they do not have the sufficient health care facilities. They have to take the insurance, spending again the premium and all that. So government should encourage them. Now at present we are considered the persons who gets around 7.5 lakhs to 15 lakhs is considered the middle class, and above the 15 lakhs is the upper middle class, and above the 25 lakhs is the rich. Some kind of a analysis somebody has done. But the 7.5 lakhs, is it really sufficient for all their needs, including the children education? And particularly when the government schools are made up to the mark with the highest standards, then middle class people also will prefer their children to go to the government schools. Otherwise, in the private, they have to spend the more money. As we see, all the bureaucrats, all the politicians, and all the rich people, they send their children either to the abroad or to the best available, so-called the best available private schools. Not even 1% they will be sending their children to the government. This system should be there. Whereas only the middle class people have to send their children to either the government or spending more money out of their loans or suffering economically. So that also part should be taken care by the government and addressed in their manifesto. So, and some of the other reasons why the middle class people are suffering is the exploitation for the corporate sectors, like business sectors, where they are working. They have been exploited. They have been exploited with respect to the salaries, with respect to the facilities. Either you do or you quit, kind of a situation. There should be some kind of a controls on the private sector also with respect to the employment, like many countries also they are doing that. So all this will help middle class people to actively participate in the government and elections and feel themselves connected to the government and the elections. So this is my view. Now all the middle class people, they should really come out and demand that their demands also should be a part of their election manifesto, and they should also actively participate. Okay, in my next video I will be dealing with some other topics in the general election context. Till that time, Jai Hind.